Yo, what's up YouTube fam? It's your boy Joe Fit Johnson. I'm back at it again with another video. So today I'm going to be talking to y'all a bit about nutrition while I cook up this breakfast. I'm kind of multitasking here, but I'm going to get straight to the game, no fluff. So what I want to talk about today is nutrition and how you're able to stay lean year-round, how you're able to lose 10, 20, 30, 40 pounds of body fat and actually be able to keep it off, right? Not following these fad diets, but actually making a lifestyle change that you can stick to, that's sustainable and that you enjoy, all right? Because that's what's important. All right, so first I want to talk about my mindset with nutrition and how I think about food and how that's developed over time, right? So when I first got into my journey, I was a skinny guy looking to put on weight, right? So all through high school, through college, I played sports, I played basketball, so I knew that I had to be strong, and I always wanted to put on muscle mass, bulk up a bit, but I could never put on the weight. And it makes sense because of how much cardio I was doing and how much I was not eating, right? Going to school lunch, not taking supplements, not really having enough calories for all the energy that I was expending, right? So it was impossible for me to put on weight, right? But what did the trainers tell me? The trainers told me that I didn't have the frame, right? I had little joints, right? I didn't have the frame to put on muscle, and that I had to eat more, but they weren't telling me how much I had to eat. And that's because most people, most trainers, most people don't know how to eat. They don't know how to eat to put on weight. They don't know how to eat to cut body fat, right? And the trainers honestly weren't super in shape themselves. I mean, they had muscle, but they weren't like, health conscious and eating with intention. So, one sec. All right, so with all that being said, right, I first started off my journey doing a dirty bulk, all right? Well, when I first started, I was kind of just doing a lean bulk because I didn't really know what to do, but then I learned what a dirty bulk was, which was just eating anything and everything. I had to put on any kind of calories that I could. I was eating McDonald's, I was drinking big mass gainers, I was eating rice, chicken, and vegetables 3 times a day. Like, I was going in, and I was able to create amazing results in the first 6 months. I gained about 20 pounds. I'd say about 5 to 7 pounds was fat, but a lot of it was muscle. I was really able to put on some muscle mass, and that's where it started for me. But as years began, as years continued, I continued to elevate my own eating principles, right? So I started off with a dirty bulk, and then after I put on the weight, I went into a lean bulk where I actually cut the excess body fat and got shredded. Right? At this point, I was learning more about how to enter myself into a calorie deficit. Really, all I had to do is stop eating all the extra processed foods, all the mass gainers and things like that, and really just continue to eat whole foods, high in protein, keeping my protein high, keeping my carbs moderate, and keeping my fats at about 30 grams or under, right? But I wasn't being super strict about it. I just cut back on all the excess stuff that I was using to dirty bulk, all right? And as time goes on, I continue with that same eating approach, but I started to merge into a pescatarian diet where I wanted to start to learn how to implement more plant-based foods and be able to get more plant-based protein without eating so much chicken and fish. Because literally I was just eating tons of chicken, tons of tilapia, tons of shrimp and different things like that, turkey, and I was just eating a bunch of like different types of meat. And I'm like, okay, I want to kind of challenge myself to learn how to eat more plant-based, how to get more plant-based proteins into my lifestyle. And this was about 3 years ago now. Yeah, that was about 3 years ago now. So I've been pescatarian, plant-based since then. And that's just a bit about my journey, right? And as the years went on, I got better, right? And I wanted to get better. I wanted to figure out ways that I could increase my nutritional knowledge, right? Not only my knowledge, but how I could implement new ways of eating into my lifestyle, right? That would serve me, that would give me more energy, that would help me continue to build muscle, and just overall higher quality foods, all right? So that's what I want to go into next, right? A lot of people ask me, like, what diet do you eat to stay lean year round? Or like, what's the best diet? And what it really comes down to, man, is there's not a best diet, right? Don't think that there's a one diet that fits all that is the best approach, right? Because that's not true. I mean, it kind of is true. So, a whole food diet is what the best diet is. Whole foods, eating real quality foods that are grown from the earth, from the soil, minimally processed, right? So things that are real, things that are not fast food, things that are not processed, potatoes, sweet potatoes, rice, grains, beans, chicken, right? Anything that's living, right? Anything that's high vibrational, right? Anything that's going to that you can grow, right? So these are all whole foods. These are all whole foods, and as long as you're eating whole foods at least 80% of the time. So what I like to teach to my clients and what I like to tell people and what I like to stick to myself is the 80-20 split. So 80% of the time you're going to be eating real whole foods, all right, that are, aligned with your goals, right, that are minimally processed, that don't have a bunch of simple sugars and refined sugars and things like that, refined grains, but just real, as close as natural as possible, right? So as long as you're eating that for 80%, you can go ahead and you can treat yourself for the 20%, right? You can go ahead and you can step out the box and, have that pastry, right? You can go ahead and have that, that pasta that you super creamy mac and cheese lobster. Like, you can go ahead and have that for the 20% as long as that's not your lifestyle. You're not getting off of work each day like, I can't wait to have that lobster mac, or I can't wait to have that big creamy Alfredo, or I can't wait to go get that, you're driving home from work and you don't know what you're eating, so you're going to go and get that new 5 for $5 from Wendy's, right, with the shake, right? I used to eat that stuff. I used to eat all that stuff. Like, a few years back, Wendy's shakes, all that, and I was bulking at that time, right? I was bulking and lean bulking at that time, and I was lifting like crazy, so I could afford to eat that kind of stuff and I still see ab visibility, right? But that's because I was working out so much and I was lifting so hard, and I was still eating balance. I was still eating high protein, but I was able to, all right, but back to the thing, right? So you want to make sure that when you're going into your weeks, when you're going into your days, that you're starting your days with intention, and not only starting your days, but continuing to be mindful of who you are, right? Not only who you are, but what you want to provide to yourself, because these two things go hand in hand, right? When you really think about who you are and who you want to become, you have to then align yourself with the type of foods that you eat, right? So something that I like to think about like this, right? Are you a Lambo or a G-Wagon, a Mercedes, a Bentley? Are you this high value human and this person? Or are you a Toyota or a Honda? Nothing against Toyota Hondas. They run great, right? They run great. But are you that higher end or that lower end of the spectrum? So when you eat, think about it the same way, right? I'm only going to provide myself with the highest quality foods with the highest nutrients because I want myself to be able to function at the highest level. I want my brain to be thinking clearly. I want to have a higher energy. I want to be healthy. I don't want to, have these medical bills and be worried about, being sick and not being able to run around and just have the best value of my life. I want to be able to have the most value out of my life. I want to be able to go on a hike with my kids or throw around the football, or I want to be able to take off my shirt at the beach and people, you know what I'm saying? Like, what kind of life do you want to live, right? And then also think about your why behind why it's important for you to change your mindset on how you're eating, right? Because it's going to take some discipline. Right? It's not going to be easy, and the reason why it's not going to be easy is because you're going to have cravings, right? And you're going to have times where these habits are not set in stone, so you want to revert back to your old self, but you have to outgrow that old self in order to become this new version of yourself, this higher version of yourself, right? So the way that I like to look at it, the reason why it's not going to be easy is because you have parasites in your gut, right? You have these bad gut bacteria into your gut, and if you're not familiar with the gut, I would highly recommend do a little bit of research on the gut microbiome and the importance of our immune system, our brain function, overall. Like, our gut is our health, right? It's our health, it's our brain, it's our function, it's our happiness, it's our mood. If you suffer from depression, if you suffer from a lot of different ailments, like 9 times out of 10, 8 times out of 10, your gut's fucked up, right? And that's because of the kinds of foods that we're eating, the types of food that we've been programmed to eat. Okay, we have to understand that this is we've been advertised to eat these things since yay high, since we were kids, right? We've been advertised, we've been being programmed into eating this McDonald's, this Wendy's, to eating these Doritos and these Snickers. So when we see them, we have a dopamine spike because we're familiar with them, right? And we have these parasites in our gut that are craving them. They're sending signals to your brain saying, oh, you want this, right? You want this. And it's going to, and if you don't know, our gut carries, I want to say 80 or 90% of our serotonin receptors, which is the receptors for happiness, right? So if you're, eating low quality processed foods or, pesticides, right? Pesticides are on all of our produce. That's why it's important to eat organic, right? Because you want to, and honestly, like, all the organic food isn't necessarily organic. I say go to the farmer's market as well, or build some connections with your local farmers. But you want to aim for more organic produce, because the pesticides that they're putting, the glyphosate that we're intaking from our food is not helping our gut. It is hurting our gut, right? So the reason why you're having these cravings is because you have parasites, and you need to start implementing more good bacteria into your gut, as well as changing the overall and harmonizing your gut bacteria. You can use kefir, kombucha, sauerkraut, different things like that that are high in probiotics. You also want to implement prebiotics. I'll go more into that in the future because I don't want to overwhelm y'all right now, but that's the reason why you have these cravings. So you can do a detox parasite cleanse that will help with this, but I'm not saying to implement this as the, you know, do this detox, you're going to lose 20 pounds. Like, it's not a diet like that, but just know that it's a lot deeper than when you're wondering, like, why is it so hard? Why do I have these cravings? Like, you legit have parasites in your stomach that are, you know, telling your gut, you want this, right? So back to what I was talking about. You have to know who you want to become, right? And who you are as a person and why it's important, right? That why behind anything that we do is most important, because that's the motivation. That's the thing that's going to keep us on track when we don't want to. So what is your why? Why do you want to lose X amount of pounds, right? Why do you want to gain X amount of weight? Why do you want to learn how to eat healthier? Is it for so that you can teach your family, so you can teach your kids a better way of eating? Because we this generation and the generation behind us, like, we weren't taught how to eat correctly, per se. Depending on, I don't know where you grew up, but, you know, I'm just saying from generations, like, soul food, it's amazing, it's delicious, but it's not really soul food. It's not really healthy for us, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, think about that movie Big Mama, right? Soul Food with Big Mama. She died, she had to get amputated for diabetes or something, yada yada. But they was eating soul food, and she was unhealthy from eating that soul food, right? So, boom, that's just a point right there. But we want to aim for a more plant-based, whole food, holistic diet, because this is going to help us overall. I mean, and you don't even have to be plant-based, but just implementing more plants. When I say plant-based, I literally just mean like implementing more plants, more fruits, more vegetables, more legumes, more whole foods into the diet. Whole food plant-based diet is what I would recommend, all right? Second part, the reason why I don't recommend diets. I do not recommend diets. I recommend simply a whole food nutritional approach, right? Implementing whole foods with high protein, all right? So then you have to ask yourself, right? Because a lot of people, they want to follow these keto diets, these different 30-day diets, these water fasts and things like that. And you have to ask yourself, are you looking for short-term change or are you looking for long-term change, right? Because short-term change, people can lose that 20, 30 pounds using keto, but then they end up gaining it back because they're unable to sustain that type of eating long-term. This is why you want to make slow and steady changes towards what you're eating, right? You don't want to just continue to, so you have to ask yourself, short-term versus long-term. Are you looking to make a lifestyle long-term change, or are you looking to lose 20 pounds before your wedding really quick, right? Or lose 20 pounds for this trip, right? That doesn't usually work out well because you're not going to get the results that you really want and that you really are going for until you make that long-term lifestyle change. So how do you make that long-term lifestyle change? You go slow and steady with things that you can actually sustain. You don't do one of these crazy diets talking about no carbs. Who wants to not eat carbs? We all love carbs. Like, no, eat carbs, but know what type of carbs you're eating, right? And eat real carbs, sweet potatoes, brown rice, even regular rice, as long as you're not eating it every single day. White rice, as long as you're not eating it every single day. You can treat yourself to some white rice if you want white rice. But I like brown basmati rice, wild rice, lentils, beans, chickpeas, quinoa, sweet potatoes, regular potatoes. I'll give y'all a list. If you want a list with a whole nutritional guide, if you want a grocery list, there will be a link down in the description where you can get a free nutritional guide that will break down what a whole food diet is, what macros are, what groceries to get, carbs, proteins, fats. Like, it'll have all those things. So if you want that, link in the description. And if the link's not in the description, message me on Instagram. All right, but so yeah, you want to eat just whole foods, man. You want to be able to enjoy what you're eating, and then you also want to, you know what I mean, don't be so focused on being perfect. Don't be so focused on, oh, I have to execute this diet. I can only eat this. I can't eat anything else. I can't eat out. Like, no, you can eat out. But it's like when you eat out, know what you're aiming for. What are you aiming for? Somebody say it for me. Whole foods. Real foods that doesn't have a whole bunch of added oils and butters and heavy creams and things like that, because those are the calories that'll sneak up on you. You'll think that you're eating good. It's like, ooh, baked potato, and then you're throwing 2 scoops of butter on there with sour cream and ranch. It's like, okay, you just ruined that that baked potato. It's no longer going to serve you. It's now going to be adding an extra 500 calories just in butter and dressings and sour creams, right? So that's something to be mindful of. It's not only the food, but how you're topping the food and how you're cooking the food. So not frying your food in frying oils and not putting, you know, heavy creams into your pastas, right? Aim for like a marinara. Alfredo's cool as well, but it's like depends on what you have for that day, right? You just want to find something that you can stick to ultimately. You want to find something that you can enjoy, because that's how you're going to get the results and continue being able to make progress, because it doesn't feel like such a pressure, such a restricted diet. I don't suggest I don't suggest super restricted diets, because ultimately, eventually a person is going to relapse and they're going to go back to the old way of eating, right? They're going to be like, I can't stick with this, and then they're going to have something that they've been wanting and they're going to fully indulge, and then after they indulge, they're going to be like, wow, I failed. I might as well just keep eating like this. I can't do this, right? But that's not true. Like, if you fall off the wagon for a bit and you have a meal that's not within your guidelines or not whole foods, and it's just like you just wanted to have it, just do it. Just do it, get it over with, and put it behind you, right? Know that that is not your lifestyle. That's not how you're eating that 80%. That's just, you know, thing. So eat it, eat the snack, the chips, whatever it is, eat it and move forward. And, you know, now focus on the future of what you can do better, how you can implement, you know, a more nutrient-dense food on that next meal, right? And how you can maybe add in a protein shake, or how you can increase your protein, right? So when it comes to building muscle and losing body fat, you really want to, like I'm going to continue to say, whole foods, right? And high protein. When it comes to high protein, I'm going to be doing another video on that, on how you can increase your protein, and ways that I eat to increase my protein. I'll give you guys some recipe books and different things like that, so stay tuned for those. So simple steps to get started. Simple steps to get started towards better eating habits, right? And I say eating habits, not a strict diet. I don't want to put anybody on a diet. We're not doing diets, but changing your eating habits, right? So aim to start preparing your food, planning your food, knowing that what you're going to be eating for that week, having groceries in your refrigerator, and then also cooking and prepping up that food. So when you get home from work, you already have food prepared. You don't have to worry about what you got to cook and defrost and yada yada. It's already done. So this is why I work with my clients in my academy on preparation and planning, because this is the key to success, right? This is how you stay consistent, going into each week knowing that you have groceries, so that you don't have to make that bad decision and stop at the fast food, right? And my clients do eat out as well, and it's like when you do eat out, just know what you're aiming for. You're aiming for some high protein, lean protein, right? Some greens, complex carb, very easy, all right? So simple steps to get started. Cut back on processed foods and refined sugars, right? So fast foods, processed foods, TV dinners, chips, snacks, pastries, just cut back on it. Pops, sugary drinks, things like that, cut back on it. Implement more protein and weight training. A lot of people think that cardio is the answer when it comes to fat loss and weight loss. That's not true. You want to focus on building muscle. This is how you're going to build a more lean, tight, toned physique. It's not going to make you bulky, ladies. It's not going to, it's not going to hurt you. It's actually going to burn more calories than cardio, and it's going to actually help your body become more firm. If you're just doing cardio, your body's gonna stay soft, right? You're not gonna get that lean. You're not gonna see your abs. You're not gonna get the muscles in your chest or your back. You're not gonna get the booty. You're not gonna get the legs. You're gonna be skinny fat, right? So that's not what you want. I don't think that's not what most people are aiming for. They're like the curves, you know, muscle, sex appeal, yada yada. You want to lift weights 3 to 5 times a week, period. right? You can implement cardio. I would recommend HIIT. If you do some low intensity cardio for warm up, great, but don't let that be your focus. Your focus should be building muscle, then having a diet that's going to, and when I say diet, this is your lifestyle diet here, not a strict diet, but lifestyle approach of how to eat to supplement your hard work, right? High protein, right? Whole foods. Very simple. Aim for at least over 100 grams of protein starting out, working up to 150 grams of protein. I feel like I dropped a lot of gems here. I hope that this helps a lot of y'all. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that pops up. I don't really write down a script or anything with these videos. It's all off the dome. I write down some points that I'm gonna talk about, and I go at it. So I hope this helps some of y'all. Like I said, if you are interested in that free nutrition guide, click the link down in the description. If you like this video, give me a like, give me a subscribe, show some love. I'm finna eat this breakfast. And we're gonna take it from there, y'all. So peace, love, and games, man. Hey, and if you want this tank, Dope Not Famous, link in the bio. Let's get it.
Getting money, I'm a spaz out. Drive a Rari with the ass out. Drive a Rari with no tags now. Diamond braces, so you mad now. Look just like me, I'm your dad now.